Hey, hello everybody, and welcome to the show. It's me, John Park, and this is Show and Tell. So I am guest hosting tonight as PT and Lamore are off doing some other fun stuff, and there's not going to be an Ask an Engineer tonight. So this will be the show for tonight. If you are interested in coming and showing and telling, either check our blog or head over to the Discord. That's at adafruit.it/Discord. Jump into the live broadcast chat channel, and you will see a post there with a link. You can come on into our StreamYard and show some stuff. We're going to we just have a few people so far lined up, so we'll probably get out of here fairly quick unless a whole bunch more people pile on. So you're welcome to join in. We usually try to keep this to a half hour. I think it'll be a lot shorter than that tonight. And what else? I thankfully cross fingers and I don't curse this, may have improved my internet situation from yesterday where I was having a lot of buffering problems. So if you're over in the chats, please let me know, either in the YouTube chat or in the Discord if you see or hear any problems. But otherwise, I am going to bring on our first guest, and here comes Jay.
Hey.
Hello, how's it going, Jay?
Pretty good. I've been working on a thing, as you can see.
Ooh, yeah.
I know, new year, new robot, me. So I've been working on making a new version of my Aussie robot, the one from 2021. I haven't built another Aussie all last year. Like last year, I was focusing on the facial recognition stuff. So I finally went back this year and decided to redo Aussie. And this is actually Aussie V14, which is still going to be a wearable. I'm still designing it to be a wearable, but I also want it to be able to walk. So what I ended up doing is going through different ideas. I was going to do a whole bunch of, servos, make a hexapod. That makes it more heavier. And after last SuperCon of wearing my robot all 3 days, I had a huge bruise on my shoulder. So I have learned from that mistake. I will not be doing that again. So I want it to be very much lighter. So I ended up using the X-Spider design, which I built a long time ago. I built one. That way it can like crawl on its own. I haven't got out to test the crawling motion of it yet, but I did get the head done recently, and I'm controlling the head right now using my phone because I have it hooked up to the Adafruit system.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, so I can do back and forth right now. I'm going to have some more touch sensors involved using the circuit playground. But right now, this is what I have. And I kind of like how it is right now. I've been trying to make it look really perfect. So I've been sanding and shining everything.
So shiny.
Been polishing it. I'm planning to do a lot of videos this year and like some like fun, like creator type of teaching content with robots. So I want to make sure my robot sidekick in the videos look good.
Camera ready.
I'm designing it. Yeah, so I'm designing it to be really pretty, really like designed. That way, when it shows up on camera, people can be like, "Oh my god, that's so cool!" I'm like, "Yes, my sidekick." It probably even talks and stuff. But yeah, so far this is what I've gotten. It's doing pretty good. Can't complain. The head rotates all 380 degrees using motors and stuff. Buttons are here on the side, so I need to turn other things on and off. But for an example, because I built the first one when I was first starting to learn how to make stuff, I followed the instructions and made one years ago. Like this is super, super old, but this is the design that I'm like using for it. And the funny thing about this is I tested it. This thing still works.
Right. That's great.
It still just slowly crawls on the
cute.
floor. So I'm pretty much making a bigger version of this that I can wear on my shoulder, and I'm upgrading it to be an Aussie. So this is Aussie V14, which since 2021, I gotta bring my baby back, and yeah, that's pretty much what I've been doing in the last few weeks of just
really nice. Yeah, great work.
I'm making a few of them actually too. That will be all different control, different ways. That way I can have more experimentation and also have other ways I can do some videos, because as I've learned from watching a whole bunch of movies, never build one because your stunt robot will always break. There will always be problems, so build a few.
Excellent. Oh, really cool. Thanks for bringing that on. I'm impressed. It looks great, and not just the functionality, but the fact that you sanded it for that long is really amazing. It's so shiny.
Right? It's reflecting so well right now. I'm loving it.
Great, good. Well, we look forward to seeing more. Bring it back as you add features to it and work on it.
Of course.
And we'll be happy to see it. All right, take care.
You too. Later.
Cool robot. All right, so next up, we got Noe. Hello.
Hello, John. Yeah, so this week, actually over the weekend, I wanted to get some pegboards, and IKEA has a really nice pegboard. Let me bring on my screen here. Got that. So I got two of these. They're called the Scottish. I'm not sure exactly how to say it, but it's IKEA's version of pegboards. And
Yeah.
what I really like about it is that it uses metric system. So the spacing
Nice.
between the holes are like nice and even. And
Mhm.
I like metric because all my projects, I design them in metric. So I thought it'd be fun to kind of 3D print a couple of different brackets for my various projects. And it's all modular, and it's kind of a different way because you can see kind of how these slots are like staggered on the second
Mhm.
row. So it kind of gives you a little bit more flexibility than like the standard pegboards.
Yeah,
So I got
that's
this like uh,
one question I've got. I've seen these, and I always wonder why do they do the sort of slots instead of holes? Like, what does that change about your? Because I've never used that kind, so I'm curious what about a pegboard changes in your life when you've got these slots?
it's funny, like I never really used the standard pegboard,
Uh-huh.
so I can't really say like,
We
oh, this is
can't
better. This
together.
is
We
worse.
can't figure this out. someone
Yeah,
someone who's used both needs to chime
yeah,
in.
exactly, right. But I feel like it's going to be more modular because you have that ability to kind of shift your brackets over.
Yeah,
So I'm assuming that you have just more options, more variants in like how you want
yeah,
to have your bracket set up. But what's really cool about it is that on the Thingiverse and printables, the 3D printing community has just done like every type of adapter, like Lego adapters, mason jar adapters.
great.
If you could think about it, like there's probably an adapter. And before Jay, he actually has one too, and he was showing
Uh-huh.
how he has his tools laid out. But one thing I wanted to do was because I have two of them, the space in between the middle is like not really usable. So
Mhm.
I designed like this kind of modular bracket where I have these two bits and I just have some screws here. And then I have the slots here that will allow me to kind of hook this on the middle. So I can put that there, bring it down, and now I can have one of these. These are kind of the standard hooks that
Okay.
IKEA has. So now I can put this in the middle.
Fill the gap. Oh, that's great.
And I can fill the gap, and maybe I got myself a little pocket
Ah,
operator with
yes.
the sombrero, and I can hang it up there. So if you ever run out of pegboard space for your product pick of the weeks, maybe check out the
Check out the
Scattis.
new style. Maybe that'll
Yeah,
be yeah, that'll be the new way to do it. I like that.
it comes in different colors. You could also spray
Okay.
paint it if you like. I think
Mhm.
it's MDF, right? Like that
Mhm.
high density particle
Yeah.
board.
Yeah, yeah.
So I guess you could cut it, but you could also 3D print one if you want to. If you have a big enough bed, you could probably just
Mhm.
print a little one. But yeah, definitely check out if you're into IKEA stuff, check out their pegboards. They're pretty cool.
Yeah.
And you can 3D print all sorts of different adapters and things. So that's what I'm kind of playing with over the weekend.
Really cool. I wonder if you could backlight the whole thing too with like some big
Ooh, that's a
NeoPixel
good
strips so
idea.
you can just
Yeah,
like the
there's
whole
definitely
thing is
enough
also visible.
space. Yeah,
Is
there's
there
definitely
some
enough
space
space.
behind?
Totally, yeah. And it comes with these little twisty bits that have like these little offset. So yeah, there's
Yeah.
definitely enough room in the back there to light it
Yeah.
up. Cool.
Really
That's
cool. Yeah, I dig your
yeah.
setup. Thanks for sharing that. And are you sharing that design for your gap filler up on the
I should. I haven't
yeah.
yet,
People will
but
see that and they'll be like, wait a second.
yeah, right. Cool. Yeah, I'll definitely share that then.
Nicely done. Really neat. I love it.
Cool.
Thanks,
Thanks.
Matt.
All right.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye. All right. Pegboard envy. Next up, we've got Liz. Hey,
Hello.
Liz, and a
Hey.
lot of stuff.
So many servos. So I've started prototyping a new project. It's going to be, let me switch up my camera a little bit. It's going to be a lyre, which is like kind of a mini harp. And basically, I'm going to use some servos to pluck the strings. But before I get there, you got to do some quick prototyping with the code. So right now I have code that is responding to MIDI note on messages, and it has the MIDI notes coming in, and then the servos are just being sent to a random angle. So when I press the keys, they're just all going nuts.
That's great.
But they're pretty snappy, so I think it's going to be good for playing the harp. So that was like the one thing I was worried about, was that maybe it wouldn't be as snappy. But until then, there's like a new genre of glitch music you can do with this.
Yeah, for sure. I wonder if you can send different speeds to them if you want to just use it as a musical instrument. Like
I
it's
was wondering, like,
range, right?
yeah, I'm thinking maybe like a side, like maybe piece of code I'll include. Would be like, if you just want to control some servos, like maybe like the length of time you hold down the note would affect the angle. And
so it seems like for your lyre, the I've never looked at what people use for plucking. Like, have you looked into or designed something or tried out like how does a servo interface with the string?
So I yesterday was doing some very basic testing where I was finding like a nice kind of sharp angle, and it was like I was finding like 65 to 95 degrees was like hitting it nicely, and I was holding up to the string, and like that was like plucking nicely. And so I think I'm gonna have to 3D print like a longer horn to pluck it, but it was getting it at a nice angle, and so then I think the hardest thing will be like figuring out like how to mount it over the strings. I think I will end up doing like kind of a tabletop thing and having them go across that way. I think that'll be just easiest. And then kind of go from there.
Have you looked at the T-slot aluminum that we have?
Yes.
Maybe you've used that in some of your projects.
The robot xylophone actually uses T-slot.
Okay, I thought that rung a bell.
So that's definitely something I haven't ruled out. Or acrylic could also be an option, maybe. So something like that. Always tricky when you have a lot of things you have to mount in a very specific way.
Yeah, you've got a lot of very finicky, precise. And when you pluck, will you pluck in one direction, and then when you pluck the next time on that same note, would it come swinging back this way?
Yes, yeah. So there's going to be logic in the code to handle that.
Return.
So,
cool.
So
really neat.
Thanks. So early stages right now, but I'm excited about it. I've done like a couple percussive robot instruments with MIDI, but I've never done strings. So this is kind of the next step.
Yeah, it's really cool. What a cool challenge.
Thank you.
And I suppose you could move some of that thinking over to one of your guitars or another stringed instrument with with way fewer strings.
There have been a couple folks that have done some really cool guitar robotics. I know I think it's Steven Tripanowski. He does like a whole like metal band with it, so that was really cool to see. So
that's great.
Yeah.
Cool project. Can you play your squiddy little servos for us one more time?
Yes, of course.
It's such a living thing.
I know, yeah. Again, may have gone a little too far. But
cool way to puppeteer. Yeah.
Yes.
And what are you driving that with? That's what board is that?
So that's the PCA 9685. And it communicates over I2C. It's not stemified, but I actually just soldered a stemma cable to it so I could plug it into the RP2040, and then takes external power. So I've got a 5-volt 10 amp, the big power supply, just to be on the safe side, so I don't have to worry about it. Just in there. So yeah, and then there's header pins. You can just plug the servos directly onto it, which is nice. So
yeah, and you probably have like a lot of polyphony where you can have a bunch of servos going at the same time, so it could draw a decent bit of current, right?
It could, yeah. Like I can, the 16 all at once could be a lot.
You have 16 string polyphony. That's really impressive.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool. A really cool project. Thanks for sharing that. We're so looking forward to seeing how this progresses as you're building it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Have a good night.
Thanks. All right. And next up, we have America's sweetheart, Todd Kurt. Hey, Todd.
America's sweetheart.
My sweetheart. Right. I love Todd. That's the best. How's it going, Todd?
So, hey, pretty good. So one of the things that we all love the Macropad from Adafruit that I'm sure you've all seen. But this is something I've been working on. It's turns your Macropad into a standalone MIDI synth. In this case, it's running CircuitPython and a little drum machine.
Oh, nice.
Where the Macropad itself is actually playing out the samples of the drums. And so it's got a little sequencer built in. You can change. Oops. Oh, sorry, this is backwards.
Upside down and backwards.
Track.
Yep.
There we go. But
Nice.
so yeah, totally standalone. This is being driven off of a little, battery pack. This is what the board looks like. Oh yeah, so it's like, how does this work? Well, it turns out there is a little board that is now living off of the Stemma QT connector. Normally, Stemma QT is for I2C devices. I'm sort of abusing it for doing audio out and MIDI in, and so this is what the board looks like. This is the back of the board. It has a little space theme, front of the board, and the cool thing is, I got a bunch made.
Neat.
And these will be in. Finally, I'm going to have a Tindy store, and so this will be up on Tindy.
Oh, that's great news. Really cool.
So yeah, so that's the news so far. I should have some other things up in that Tindy store as well. Some other little MIDI synthy things that I've done over the years. So.
Oh, great! That's excellent. I look forward to get one of those. So to back up a second, the Macropad. Normally we do stuff like send key presses to a computer or MIDI messages to a synthesizer, but what you've done is made a onboard audio interface and MIDI interface, and you're actually doing the sample playback or synthesis right on the Macropad.
Exactly, yeah. I've got some Arduino sketches that does audio synthesis as well, so this becomes a little synthesizer where the keys like adjust synth parameters and stuff. And one of the other sketches I have in CircuitPython sort of lets you remix a song in live by using the keys as sort of like faders, basically.
Oh, nice.
And
yeah.
So this is all up on GitHub right now. If you want to play with it right now, you can have it play through the little speaker that's built into the Macropad, but you can't do normal MIDI in. You can only do USB MIDI in. But now you can do USB MIDI in via one of these things. This is a standard TRS MIDI cable that you see. So this would plug in just like this, and now you've got MIDI and standalone audio out. So someone could grab a classic MIDI keyboard and use that to play the sample player on there. Exactly.
And use the onboard.
Exactly.
And you've got on the board, if you can show that again, that you've built that you're going to be selling, that has your mini jacks that can be used for audio and MIDI, and then I guess is it a optical isolator for the? Yeah,
exactly. It's a standard opto isolator for MIDI input, and then the Raspberry Pi Pico official PWM filter circuit for the audio output.
Great. Okay. Yeah. So someone had asked in the chat about what was on there. So you're getting a nicer, cleaner headphone out using resistors and capacitors, and then that chip.
It's not headphone. It's not headphone out exactly. It's line out. But
line out. Okay.
But yeah, it's pretty good. I mean, it's recommended by Raspberry Pi Foundation, which for PWM audio is kind of like compared to stuff you get from a proper DAC. But but it's good enough for the sort of 8-bit Super Nintendo style sounds that most people want to make nowadays.
Heck yeah. Why? Is there some other type of sound that exists?
Exactly.
Really cool. Thanks, Todd. And if people want to find that or stalk your Tinder before Tindy, not Tinder,
watch it.
Your Tindy before that's released, even what are they looking for when they search?
It's called Macropad Synth Plug, and I'll put a link to the GitHub for it. It's all fully open source hardware. But I'll put a link to the GitHub in the chat once I'm off of this.
Awesome. Great. All right. Well, play us out because that is it for the show. And thanks everyone for stopping by. Thanks to everyone who came on to show projects. Thanks for hanging out in our chats. We'll all be around for a little bit longer to answer questions. I saw some people talking up their love of the IKEA pegboard and reasons for the slots that sound good. So I'm going to check out all that info. Thanks, everyone. There will not be an Ask an Engineer tonight. So come on by tomorrow. I'll be doing workshop show. And I think we'll have a deep dive with Tim on Friday and more. So head on over to all the Adafruit channels to see all the good Adafruitness. Thanks, Todd, and thanks, everyone. For Adafruit Industries, I'm John Park. I will see you next time. Bye-bye.